Tiger Woods was in a harrowing rollover crash. Most people don't know the darkest detail of that day, however. There's only one Tiger Woods. He completely reshaped the game of golf and became one of the biggest icons in the history of sport. Then, the cracks started to show. After a decade at the top, he suffered one of the biggest falls from grace the world has ever seen. His harrowing 2021 car crash is just another example of the wild highs and lows that have followed Tiger Woods throughout his life. Most people don't actually know the sad story behind the name Tiger. While serving in Vietnam, Earl Woods befriended a courageous colonel named Phong, known as Tiger to his friends. According to Earl, shortly before the war ended, Phong disappeared without a trace. Earl Woods returned home without saying goodbye, but he kept the memory of Tiger with him and thought of a way to pay tribute to his friend. Earl Woods claims he knew his son would be famous one day, so he called his boy Tiger in hope that Phong would one day hear about Tiger Woods and seek him out. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. Phong's grave was discovered in North Vietnam years later. He never lived to meet his famous namesake, but if nothing else, Tiger Woods did the name proud. In his spare time, Earl Woods was a pretty decent amateur golfer. He quickly passed his love of the sport on to his son. Tiger picked up his first golf club at just 2 years old. It didn't take long for Earl to realize his boy had something special. Unfortunately, golf isn't the only thing Tiger learned from his father. The scandals that plagued Tiger Woods later in life make so much more sense when you know what Earl Woods did in his spare time. Tiger spent nearly his entire childhood at golf courses with his dad, and that's where he discovered his father's disturbing habits. Earl was a notorious womanizer, and he made absolutely no attempt to hide his blatant philandering from his son. Watching his father pick up young women every single week eventually took its toll on a young Tiger Woods. Tiger's high school girlfriend revealed in an interview just how much Earl's cheating affected the teenage Tiger Woods. He would call on the phone sobbing, and all he could get out was, "My dad is with another woman," before breaking down completely. According to the 2018 biography Tiger Woods, Earl Woods' womanizing ways only got worse as he grew older. He played adult videos openly and constantly. He hid adult toys all through his house, and he kept a never-ending string of women streaming through his house. Once Tiger's career started taking off, he began to distance himself from his father. But that didn't stop him from repeating his dad's mistakes 10 times over. Prodigy is the word people use to describe young Tiger Woods. When he was just 3 years old, his play garnered him enough attention to land a spot on national television, putting against the legendary Bob Hope on The Mike Douglas Show. That same year, he shot a 48 over 9 holes. Sure, that won't win any championships, but the kid was 3. His father's relentless coaching helped shape Tiger into one of the greatest golfers the world has ever seen. Tiger Woods played at the Masters for the first time when he was just 19 years old, the only amateur to make the cut. He ended up in 41st place. Most 19-year-olds would have been pretty darn happy with that result, but Woods wasn't satisfied. Satisfaction would come 2 years later when he returned to absolutely dominate the field. He won the Masters for the first time in 1997 by a ridiculous 12 strokes. Within 2 months, he was ranked number 1 in the world, the fastest anyone has ever shot to the top. Tiger Woods had arrived, and golf would never be the same again. The instant Tiger Woods turned pro, companies were clamoring to get a piece of him. At just 20 years old, he signed contracts with both Nike and Titleist, the biggest deals that golf had ever seen. He was on his way to becoming the richest golfer of all time. But you know what they say, more money, more problems. And Tiger had a lot of money. Tiger Woods took the PGA by storm. For the first several years of his career, professional golf was basically the Tiger Woods show. No one could win like Tiger, and he became the face of the sport basically overnight. But the PGA Tour didn't just bring him cash and trophies. It's also where he met the first love of his life, Ellen Nordegren. Tiger Woods had to wait a year before he even got to take Ellen out on a date, and the pair quickly fell head over heels for each other. Wasting no time in their whirlwind romance, they were engaged within just 2 years. It seemed like a fairy tale romance, but it would go down in flames before long. Tiger Woods' wedding took extravagant to the next level. He wed Ellen in October of 2004, right next to the 19th hole at the luxurious Sandy Lane Resort in beautiful Barbados. Woods shelled out a cool $2 million to rent out the entire resort for a week. Not too long after their wedding, disturbing photos of Ellen appeared online. Having revealing photos spread on the internet is a nightmare for anyone in the public eye. But this situation was even more twisted. The photos were complete fakes. Ellen was learning that fame can come with a terrible price, and yet it was about to get so much worse. Maybe today, people are a little more aware of photoshopped pictures, but in 2006, not so much. The fact the photos even existed was bad enough, but then Ellen's nightmare deepened when a scummy Irish magazine called The Dubliner published the photos and outright stated they were real. Fake or not, people really believed the images were genuine. Ellen ended up suing the magazine for €125,000, but the damage was already done. As his wife's struggles weren't enough, the blows kept coming for Tiger Woods in 2006. After a strong start to the season, a devastating tragedy struck. Earl Woods, the man who sparked Tiger's passion for golf, passed from prostate cancer. He'd fought the disease for the better part of a decade, but it finally claimed his life. The loss of his father absolutely devastated Tiger, and he stumbled for the first time in his career. Woods took some time off after his father passed, and when he returned, he didn't look like his usual self. After about a month of grieving, Tiger entered the US Open, a tournament he'd won twice before, and the results were disastrous. Woods, undeniably the most dominant golfer in the world, didn't even make the cut. Just like his dad would have wanted, Woods pulled himself together and finished 2006 on an absolute tear. He closed out the year by winning a whopping 6 straight tournaments. Tiger just kept on winning throughout 2007 and the start of 2008. But then in April, he suffered the first real scare of his career. After years of knee problems, doctors finally decided that Woods needed surgery. After taking 2 months off to recover, Woods returned to the tour at the 2008 US Open. The first day of the 2008 US Open was absolutely terrifying for any Tiger Woods fans. The superstar played horrible, and it really seemed like the knee surgery might have affected his game even more than anyone assumed. Then Tiger turned it on. Over the next 3 days, he played some of the best golf of his life before coming back to win the entire tournament in a nail-biting 18-hole playoff. As fellow pro Kenny Perry put it, he beat everybody on one leg. The day after his win at the 2008 US Open, Tiger Woods revealed that his knee was way worse than anyone had imagined and that he needed even more surgery. After recovering from his second knee surgery, Tiger couldn't quite reclaim the magic of that 2008 US Open. He didn't win any majors in 2009. Then, in November 2009, the National Enquirer uncovered his darkest secret. They claimed that Tiger Woods had an affair with a New York City nightclub manager named Rachel Yucatel. When reporters pestered her, Rachel denied having ever slept with Woods, but the evidence was damning. First, there was the fact that she'd been spotted at the same hotel in Melbourne, Australia, where Woods had been staying. There was also the fact that Woods' close friend had actually paid for Rachel's ticket. The paparazzi smelled blood. Rachel had a thing for rich, famous, and married men. In the aftermath of the Tiger Woods scandal, Bones actor David Boreanaz admitted that he too had an affair with Rachel. Now, tabloids publish stories about famous people cheating all the time. At first, it seemed like this story was like all the others. Then, 2 days after the Enquirer published its story, the plot thickened. In the middle of the night, Woods left his Florida mansion in his Cadillac Escalade. For still unknown reasons, he lost control of the car and crashed into a fire hydrant, then a tree. For the next 2 days, local authorities sought to question Woods about the crash, but each time they arrived at his house, either his wife or his agent claimed he was unavailable for interview. Woods finally released a statement through his website. In his statement, Tiger took all the blame for his embarrassing accident. He wrote, "I'm human and I'm not perfect. I will certainly make sure this doesn't happen again," before asking for the entire debacle to remain a private matter. Just days later, An even more damning report would bring even more of Woods' dirty laundry out into the open. One thing that people did learn about that night: before the crash, Woods had taken prescription painkillers. Still, when everything was said and done, he walked away with just a $164 citation for reckless driving. But if anyone thinks he got off easy, don't worry. His punishment didn't come from the courts, but it was coming nonetheless. Once two of Tiger Woods' affairs had come to light, a flood of women from all across the country came forward saying they'd also slept with him. With their admissions came details about how far Woods had gone in order to keep his infidelity a secret. Within a matter of weeks, one thing became very clear. Tiger Woods wasn't just a regular cheater. He was the Lance Armstrong of cheaters. As reports of Woods' mistresses continued to flood the tabloids, Tiger released yet another statement. He admitted he'd been unfaithful, apologized to anyone who had supported him and believed in him, and once again asked for privacy. But the stories just kept coming, and privacy was not going to be an option. Soon, Woods announced that he would be taking a break from golf. In January 2010, Woods checked himself into a sex rehab clinic in Mississippi. He hoped he could save his marriage, and for a time, papers reported that Ellen considered forgiving him and making their marriage work. His sponsors started dropping him left and right. Several of Woods' biggest supporters cut all ties with him in a mass exodus. Woods entered damage control mode, but no matter what he said or did, he couldn't stop his slide to rock bottom. In February 2010, Woods gave his first televised statement since the scandal began. He put it plainly: "I thought I could get away with whatever I wanted to. I felt that I'd worked hard my entire life and deserved to enjoy all the temptations around me. I felt I was entitled. Thanks to money and fame, I didn't have far to go to find them. I was wrong. I was foolish." No amount of therapy was going to erase Tiger's dozens of affairs in Ellen's eyes. They officially divorced in August of 2010. Unsurprisingly, after 2009, Tiger Woods' love life was suddenly extremely interesting to the public. In 2013, Woods started dating Olympic skier Lindsey Vonn, though they split up 2 years later. By all accounts, the breakup was fairly amicable, which is more than we can say for his next girlfriend. Woods started dating a stylist named Kristen Smith. Once again, they broke up after 2 years, but that wasn't the last the tabloids would hear of Smith. In 2018, it came out that Woods wanted Smith to sign a non-disclosure agreement. They eventually reached a deal, and for obvious reasons, the contents of the NDA have never come to light. But that didn't stop people from speculating that Smith left Tiger after he cheated on her, and that he made her sign the NDA to keep that fact on the down low. Then came what is arguably his lowest moment. At 3 a.m. in the morning on May 29, 2017, officers in Juniper Island, Florida, found an SUV idling in the middle of the road. I can only imagine the reaction when they found none other than Tiger Woods inside, dead asleep in the driver's seat. Officers brought Woods down to the station where they took his now infamous mugshot, and they started asking questions. Yet again, Tiger Woods had screwed up. In a reflection of the 2009 crash, Woods admitted to taking prescription drugs earlier in the night. He claimed they must have interacted in some way he didn't predict, causing him to fall asleep behind the wheel. Woods ended up pleading guilty to simple reckless driving and paid a $250 fine, along with a year of probation and 50 hours of community service. Later that year, he started dating a restaurant manager named Erica Herman, and this relationship seems like his strongest since his divorce. It seems like after years of turmoil, Woods was finally getting his life back on track. But there was still one thing that was missing. After over a decade of dominance, Tiger Woods fell off a cliff. He just couldn't win anymore. Between 2010 and 2018, Tiger won just 9 tournaments. Compare that to 2000 when he won 8 tournaments in 1 year alone. As the years passed, more and more people started to say Tiger had lost it for good. Then the 2019 Masters happened. After 3 days at the Masters in 2019, Tiger Woods hadn't led the field once. Then on the last day, the leader, Francesco Molinari, hit his ball into the water on the 12th hole. Then he hit a tree on the 15th. Suddenly, the entire tournament was up for grabs, and for the first time in over 10 years, Tiger rose to the challenge. He won the 2019 Masters by a single stroke. It was his first major win since 2008 and the first time he'd ever won a major after not leading through 54 holes. But the 2019 Masters wasn't about records or money for Tiger Woods. It was about his legacy. And from Tiger's heartwarming post-championship interview, the sheer joy he felt was clear. "I'm a little hoarse from yelling. When I tapped the putt in, I didn't know what I did. I know I screamed, and to have my kids there, it's come full circle. In 1997, my dad was here. Now I'm the dad." It was one of the greatest moments of Woods' remarkable career, but he couldn't enjoy it for long. Not long after this dramatic win at Augusta, Woods announced that he'd undergone yet another knee surgery. But if the Masters had proved anything, it's that you can never count Tiger Woods out completely. Tiger Woods returned to the PGA Tour just a few months after his knee surgery, this time at the first ever PGA Tournament event in Japan. Despite being 43 years old and recently recovering from knee surgery, Woods pulled out the win, and this one meant something special. After being so tantalizingly close for so long, Woods tied Sam Snead for the most PGA Tour wins of all time, at 82. Woods taking that record seemed like all but a sure thing in the 2000s, but then the cheating scandal happened and everything fell apart. Now it seemed like Tiger would finally claim sole possession of the record that had for so long seemed his for the taking. Then, as it had so many times before in his life, disaster struck. In February of 2021, Woods went to Southern California to host the 2021 Genesis Invitational, a PGA Tour event with his foundation as one of the main sponsors. After the tournament wrapped up, Woods filmed a segment for Golf Digest with NBA star Dwayne Wade and comedian David Spade. During the round, Wade posted a video to his Instagram of him and Woods smiling and seemingly having a great time on the golf course. The next morning, local officers responded to a car crash near Rolling Hills Estates. Inside the wreckage at the base of a hill, a conscious but badly hurt Tiger Woods. Later reports would state that Woods had been traveling extremely quickly down Hawthorne Boulevard when he lost control of his vehicle. The SUV then rolled several times before coming to a stop. Local authorities claim that the area, which features a steep incline and sharp curve, is the site of many accidents, but never before someone with Tiger Woods' fame. It was a frightening scene, as the crash completely smashed in the entire front of the vehicle. Though many were quick to jump to the conclusion that this was an echo of Woods' 2017 incident, the sheriff's department was quick to point out that Woods hadn't been under the influence, and that the crash was purely an accident. We learned that Woods had fractured both his tibia and fibula, and perhaps bones in his ankle and foot as well. Surgeons had to install metal rods and screws to repair his leg. Tiger's latest car crash brings back memories of that infamous accident in 2009, but not a lot of people know what really happened that night. The tabloids painted a picture of a furious Ellen chasing wildly after her unfaithful husband with a golf club in the middle of the night. That's not what happened. The real story of that night is a lot more heartbreaking. The sound of Tiger's late-night crash actually woke Ellen up and sent her out into the street searching for the cause. She found her then-husband unconscious behind the wheel, and she dragged him out into the street. No matter what they were going through, the sight of her husband, covered in blood, drifting in and out of consciousness, and mumbling to himself, clearly affected her. Ellen got a neighbor to call 911 while she sat in the street with Tiger, cradling him as he lay there. The most damning evidence of Tiger Woods' adultery came painfully soon after the dramatic late-night car crash. At that point, the public had only heard the report about Rachel in Australia. Then, US Weekly reported on another mistress, Grubbs. And while Rachel had denied her affair with Woods, Grubbs wasn't quite so discreet. She not only outed him, but she had receipts. US Weekly reported that the 24-year-old Grubbs had a 31-month affair with Woods. Even more upsetting, their tryst began at the 2007 Masters, just 2 months before Ellen gave birth to their first of 2 children. The report was even worse than the Inquirer piece, partly because US Weekly had something the Inquirer didn't. Not only did Grubbs claim she had hundreds of explicit text messages from Woods, but she had something even worse, a voicemail that ended up being the nail in Woods' coffin. Scrubs, who up to that point was most well known for her appearance on VH1's reality TV show Tool Academy, revealed graphic text from Woods saying things like, "I will wear you out," but the voicemail was the worst of it all. Evidently, Ellen had been closing in on Tiger even before the Inquirer piece, because in the recording, Tiger asks for a huge favor and states that his wife has gone through his phone. Next, Tiger asks Scrubs to deactivate caller ID so that her number won't reveal her name if anyone calls. All of this took place before any reports had come to light, but once US Weekly revealed them, any doubt that Tiger might be innocent died forever. That is going to bring us to the end of the video on one of the greatest golfers of all time, Tiger Woods. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like rating, subscribe for more, comment below, and we'll be back with a brand new video very soon.